Mortal Kombat is finally in Fortnite, with tons of secrets you may have missed, and a reference that makes me love the developers. So today, we're ranking the 30 best video game Easter eggs in Fortnite, and we'll start with one added literally this week. You see, Flawless Victory is the newest emote added to the game, and even if it's just a dummy, did you know this enemy secretly changes depending on your skin? If you use the emote as Sub-Zero, we'll get a victory against Scorpion.
Flawless Victory.
Now, do it vice versa, and yeah, it's Sub-Zero, an iconic nod to one of the best video game feuds of all time. That is nothing compared to my favorite gaming rivalry, because when Resident Evil made a surprise appearance in Fortnite, we finally got to play as Chris Redfield. The funniest part, take a look at his description and it calls him a mansion incident survivor and a boulder enthusiast. Of course, Resident Evil fans will know this is a reference to the iconic battle between Chris and the boulder from the 5th game. Now, I bet you had no idea this emote is a secret reference. Most people just use evasive maneuvers as a funny traversal emote, while we all know it's a collab, it is actually taken straight from Lara Croft in Tomb Raider 2008. As for the latest Mortal Kombat crossover, we weren't just introduced to Sub-Zero and Scorpion, Katana also made a surprise appearance. But if you looked in her set, she also had a back bling with an incredible secret. You see, a long time ago, Mortal Kombat had a ton of backlash over their gruesome fatalities. Their response was to introduce friendship victories, including Melina's teddy bear picnic.
Friends. Melina wins.
So now, this friendship is secretly in Fortnite. One of the coolest video game Easter eggs is when we got to fight Doombot during the Marvel season. At first, we were expecting him to be a regular boss, until he whipped out the craziest move of all time. Immediately, Marvel vs. Capcom players started pointing at their screens, freaking out that Fortnite just made a really obscure reference to Dr. Doom's foot dive.
Foot dive!
That's not the only Easter egg hidden inside of a collab. When Among Us came to the game, everyone was so focused on the crewmate backblings, they didn't stop to realize what else came in the bundle. Alongside it, we got the distraction dance. If you just played Among Us, you wouldn't recognize this at all, but it's actually a tribute to the franchise that first made Innersloth successful developers, the Henry Stickmin series. But a more obvious reference is when Solid Snake came to the game. Anyone who knows about Metal Gear Solid will recognize this iconic moment. Now, the Easter eggs start getting more hidden with Sub-Zero. For a single day, fans noticed they could uppercut an enemy with his mythic, and this random dude would show up.
All right, one more time.
Well, it was removed the very same day, and a lot of people were confused. And well, for those of you who didn't know, this is an Easter egg from the original Mortal Kombat games. And so even though it was removed from Fortnite, it came back just a couple weeks later and introduced the Toasty emote with Scorpion. So clearly there's a ton of people working at Epic with secret admiration for classic games. Like when you can head into a random basement and discover it belongs to a diehard Iron Man fan. From cutouts to posters and mugs, he was everywhere. But more importantly, when you looked at the television, it was playing Marvel vs. Capcom. One of the strangest video games to ever appear in Fortnite happened in 2022 when a goat randomly showed up in the store. It was part of a collab with Goat Simulator, and while it took us by surprise, nobody paid attention to his shirt. It said RGDL, which didn't make much sense to people, but it's actually short for Ragdoll, a reference to the biggest feature in Goat Simulator. It's not the only detail left for fans. When Resident Evil's collab dropped, they had an entire trailer for it, and in the first couple of seconds, you could see Doggo backed against the wall, right next to a typewriter. Then, when Jill Valentine's outfit released, she had a back bling of the very same object, and all of this is one huge reference to the games. In Resident Evil, players traditionally can only save when they go next to one of these typewriters, and it's why the trailer shows paper loaded with the words "save game." Now, I'm not kidding when I say the Mortal Kombat crossover has the most gaming Easter eggs we've ever seen, like how they dropped an entire emote dedicated to test your might. And yep, this is of course taken from the real minigame in Mortal Kombat. Not only that, but Sub-Zero's backbling may be the goriest of all. I mean, just look at it. And this is inspired by Sub's very own fatality from the games. As for other franchises like Destiny, even this short-lived collab was clearly made by super fans. So when the trailer was revealed, people weren't focused on the skins, they were actually shocked to see this cave. And yeah, this is a reference to one of the most OG Destiny glitches, where one of the caves could be looted over and over again for insane items. And just recently, we got the return of the Tomb Raider collab. Lara Croft was originally a Battle Pass skin, and then all of a sudden, fans could enjoy her 2000s design. And the best part was her emote. Here, Lara's holding an artifact from the original Tomb Raider games, and fans love it. Back to Resident Evil, you might notice that Claire Redfield's back bling looks a little familiar. Well, if you played Res Evil 2, these keys actually belong to the Raccoon City PD, and turns out they're super important because you need them to get through the place and finish the game. It's still not as obscure as one of the best loading screens in Fortnite. In the Street Fighter collab, they dropped this picture of Peely getting his car smashed up. Or like a random middle finger to our banana friend, but it's actually an incredible Easter egg. It turns out in the original Street Fighter games, there was a secret bonus level where you actually had to fight a car. Even their built-in emotes were insane Easter eggs, like how Ryu was able to recreate his famous uppercut. All of the skins got their unique moves, but the best part, when it's done, they all take a fighting stance and stay like this until you move. They're literally the only built-in emotes to do this in the whole game. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm still a little salty the Fallout crossover was so tiny. I'd really love to see more outfits in the future, but you gotta appreciate the detail it did include, like when you popped open a Nuka-Cola. Did you spot it? Yeah, you actually got a single piece of gold from this bottle cap because in the games, caps are what they use as currency. Now everybody knows about Deadpool and a secret mini game in the bathroom. Basically, you could go into the vents and play this entirely hidden mode right in the lobby. It was pretty cool, but what people don't know is this is a double Easter egg. This is a parody of a retro game from 1991 called Ski Free. And if you didn't know that before, I guess the name P Freely makes more sense now. You know how earlier we got to see a reference to a friendship from Mortal Kombat? Well, it's not the only one. Fortnite added an entire emote where you could push around an ice cream cart. And of course, this just had to be a nod to Mortal Kombat 11. What about when Fortnite brings indie games to the item shop? They've shown plenty of times that people love it, like when they added Lethal Company as a crossover. Not only do we get the employee, but his emote was the famous default dance from the game. It fits perfectly next to Among Us, another indie title that drove fans insane, mostly because when you died, the backbling would recreate an iconic sound. I gotta admit though, none of us were expecting to walk into this room during the remix season and find a gaming reference. Yet, when we broke into the Riggs vault, hidden in the corner, you could discover a Fall Guy statue. It's an example of a straight up traditional Easter egg. It's just like the creeping cardboard. The original item was obviously inspired by Metal Gear Solid, but Epic couldn't get the rights to it, so they just made their own. Well, that's until they finally got to partner with the games years later and actually converted their fan project into an official cardboard box from the franchise. Let's head back all the way to Chapter 1, when an Easter egg was hiding in plain sight. During the infamous Season 9 trailer, where Jonesy drinks Beely, you could actually spot them playing a Durr Burger parody of Space Invaders. We didn't think much of it until the Black Hole event that changed everything. While we sat here waiting for the game to come back online, some 200 IQ players thought, what happens if I do the Konami code? And well, this did. Now, more recently, Fortnite announced Mode Mayhem. This was basically showcasing all of the brand new content coming in April, but fans couldn't help but notice some insane Easter eggs hiding in the trailer. Like when showing off Mortal Kombat, you could look in the background and see recreations of real stages from the original games. Not only that, but even the loading screens showcase these levels, and the best part, these were actually turned into locations on the map. It's pretty cool, right? Those are 30 video game Easter eggs in Fortnite. Hope you enjoyed. It's been Tommy, and keep it here on Top 5 Gaming.